for those that like weight, they say black don't crack, fat don't crack. And what that means is when you have volume, it makes you look youthful.
Right.
You know, you have that volume there. But if you know you are thin or gone, or you're losing weight everywhere, you lose it in your face too.
Right.
So that happened to me at 40. I'm like, I'm getting a 6-pack. And I got my 6-pack, and then my face was just like, it just felt like it just, you know,
depleted.
Where I felt like you looked at me and I just looked tired. And I'm like, what can I do about this? And that's where I was the plastic surgery nurse, and then I was like, yeah, black don't crack, but I started getting curious. I'm like, so what can y'all do? And the inch over there and say, okay, do something.
Hey, y'all. I'm Leilani Wilson-Jones, a Texas mogul with businesses throughout the state of Texas. And this is the show where we're spilling the tea on the bosses that I know.
It's time for Big Texas Bossin with Leilani Wilson-Jones. Spilling the tea on Bossin' Up.
Welcome back to part 2 with Diane. I can't wait for you to hear about her world of aesthetics. Tell us, for someone who may be a novice with skincare, or the girl who says, well, I really don't use anything, I don't need it.
You don't need it.
Right.
So, okay, there are certain people, like a young lady I met in your office today. As soon as I got into the elevator, I'm like, your skin is beautiful. Mm-hmm. And genetically, you know, you're going to always have these people that are freaks of nature that are just like, even the girl, muscles everywhere. I don't do nothing. I don't watch what I eat. You're just like, oh, well, you make me sick. So,
right.
But I will say one of the most important ingredients that we don't think that we're supposed to wear is sunscreen.
Right.
And I'm ashamed to say this, I just started wearing sunscreen regularly 4 years ago. I didn't know. I thought, and then on top of that, all the sunscreen is ugly.
Right.
You put it on and it's chalky, it's white, so you're just like, I'm not wearing that.
Right.
So now that I found all these like chocolate-friendly sunscreens that you can put on and it don't even look like you have anything on, and really understanding sun and UV rays causes aging, and that's what activates your melanocytes to cause hyperpigmentation. So if you are concerned about any kind of dark spots, you go out there with no sunscreen, it's just going to continue to get darker, more inflammation, and it's just hard to get rid of. So sunscreen is like something that's very important. And then start going, you should wash your face twice a day. You know, you'd be surprised at some people who don't wash your face twice a day.
Now, would you recommend a double wash or?
So it depends on. I always like to have it clean, especially if I've had on makeup. But I actually have these ZO Skin Health is like, we'll get into that. It's a medical grade skincare line.
Yes, I love ZO.
Yes, and so they actually have these renewal pads. What I love about them is that it's your toning, chemical exfoliating piece, but you actually can go through and see like where you missed like some spots, you know?
Right.
Get in there, you're like, oh, okay, I got a little, and almost like get that second cleanse a little bit, you know, from there. But definitely double cleaning. Changing pillowcases. There's some people they'll say like, oh, I only wash my face in the morning, right? And so I say, imagine this, walking through all day and all the dust. Think about your table if you don't dust it.
Clean it, right.
All that is just absorbed in your face. And then you're going to go and then you're going to lay down on a pillow for 8 hours and smash it all in. And then you're like, my face is always broke out. I'm like, oh my goodness, look what you're, look what you're doing. So like, I tell people, I'm like, at least get that night cleanse in. As much as you can, try not to fall asleep with like makeup or going to bed without washing your face. Yeah.
Right.
And so then now when you start, if you want to graduate and really get to that next level of like, where I talk about it being like a routine, a lifestyle and a routine. So you ever hear people and they say abs are made in the kitchen, right?
Right.
Meaning that you can go to the gym and do that powerful workout, but if you don't put the right things in your body on a regular basis, you're not going to see the result. Skin is the same way.
Right.
We have cells in our skin, and so we have to feed it with the right things every day and continuously, and that's where you see the result. But just kind of going, and I tell you, going and getting big gun treatments, but not making sure you have products that have vitamin C and vitamin E in it, that have antioxidant properties. Your retinols at night are amazing in terms of their cellular turnover. For us, things that help to suppress like our melanocyte like reactivity. So like something that, so that when you do get blemishes, because we get them, that bump that comes every time you get a period or you get stressed out, where it just won't react as much and get so dark.
Right.
So once you incorporate those things and you're just like, this is what I'm going to have for going forward, and that's how you look like Angela Bassett.
Okay, so you would say a cleanser, a toner, a moisturizer regardless of skin type.
Yes.
And sunscreen.
Yes.
Basics.
And sunscreen basic. And 2 ingredients, because it can get expensive.
Right.
I mean, this is a budget.
I'm a ZO fan and have a lot of the product. I have my own ZO bar at home, so I definitely know what you're talking about. And I shared that with one of the producers earlier. I was like, well, we can talk about the product, but that's a high-end product. What would you consider a little cheaper that someone who maybe they're just getting into it, or they really just can't afford it, but they want to take good care of their skin, and maybe they can't afford a facial monthly or some type of skin treatment, but can't afford the product?
What I like, so I actually would steer that person away from so many treatments and to have them put their money in their products.
Okay.
And then what I would maybe tell them is, maybe if you do the ZO line, instead of getting all of it, right?
Right.
Maybe you can just get a wash from CVS, and just making sure the wash has things in there that's not going to be too abrasive. Like, we don't want to over exfoliate. But then those 2 really kick-ass products, go ahead and get those. So your vitamin C and vitamin E, that protects your cells in the daytime and really helps with that, and brightening and that cellular turnover, go ahead and spend your money on that. That retinol serum or whatever that is at night for bedtime, spend your money on that. But the rest of it, maybe you can use witch hazel for toner. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Go cheap with that
Mix
stuff.
It up.
With those
so
2.
You would say the growth factor and the retinol for the PM.
Yep.
The 0.5 or the 1%.
So for us, I like to start, one of my favorites is the retinol skin brightener, because it actually can help suppress the melanocyte production, and it comes in 0.25, because we have to be careful of not going too strong initially, because it can actually have the reverse effect and cause inflammation and then hyperpigmentation.
Okay.
So I've seen people go too strong, so you can build up.
Right.
Yep. Just like in the gym, building up here, you start a little bit, and then you grow. You build where you okay, I can do the heavier duty stuff.
Okay.
So,
Got it. Now, what would you say the go-to facial would be to follow up for someone who was basic?
For someone who was basic, hydrofacial is a gateway. Hydrofacial is awesome. It's going to be, it extracts, it adds moisture. You can use boosters to address certain problems. So you can have brightening booster or a dermabuild booster. It's relaxing. It feels good. So you really do come out with a glow, and, you can do some extraction. So that's a nice one, and it's very reasonably priced. I love the fire and ice facial also. Okay. It's a gentle resurfacing, and one of my favorite things is dermaplaning. I
was going to ask, are we doing any dermaplane before these, or do we just go straight into
anybody that get in my set? I'm gonna push that dermaplane. I'm like, let's get that off,
take it off,
so everything can go in. I love dermaplaning, and it's just so beautiful after you get your makeup on. It's awesome. Yeah.
So do you typically dermaplane prior to treatments, or okay? Any
treatments that I can, that I don't feel like it'll be too irritating, I will say, can we do a dermaplane?
Okay.
Any kind of chemical peel, can we do a dermaplane first?
Right.
Because people just wow, you'd be surprised. You wouldn't believe this. I had my first dermaplane 3 months ago.
Oh, really?
I never had a dermaplane, and my laser esthetician that works with me, because I was if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And she was like, what can we get off of you? Man, that thing was so trifling. That came off my face.
Right.
We got
she took a lot off.
Yeah, we were both shocked that whatever. So it is, everybody can kind of benefit from them, and that's not expensive.
Right. Right.
You can go somewhere and get a dermaplane anywhere from $85 to $125. And so usually if people do that as a standalone treatment with us, I'll make sure they get a good facial and, good education, so really people leave the door and they're armed with the knowledge of really how to take care of their skin.
Right.
And now, Botox and fillers.
Let's talk about those. First thing, black don't crack. Black women don't want it. We don't need it.
Oh my goodness. The taboos behind it. And it's, it's sad because actually it is part of an anti-aging routine.
Okay.
And a good injector or a person that does good treatments for you, you're not going to look crazy.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like unless people are going to always ask for certain things. If you have a good person, they're going to just tell you, I'm not doing that. I have people all the time, I'm like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not that person for that,
Right,
But Botox, for example, we've seen all like the beams with Kim Kardashian not being able to cry. Well, there are certain levels of what you can administer for a certain effect. So there are certain people that like to get it and they really want to be frozen, right?
Right.
And then there are some people like myself. I've been doing Botox in my forehead now in the center of my eyebrows for the last 4 years, and I do it for preventative. I never had the wrinkles or the static lines that get there because once they get there, now it's harder to get those out. So what you want to do is prevent that, and I can move and I can do all of that.
Right.
It just keeps everything just kind of nice and smooth, and you can look normal with it. And so the whole thing is that I plan to not form wrinkles in my forehead.
Right.
Ever. I will.
Right.
I'll be in my coffin
with no wrinkles. Right. I love it, and I agree.
Yes. And even fillers. As we age, we talk about that collagen and that volume we lose in our face.
Right.
So they say you lose about a syringe of filler every decade.
Oh, wow.
So by the time you hit your 40s, your face has lost about 4 syringes of filler in terms of all over. And so what you'll start to see is like the deficits will be here in your mid-face or your, all these areas. And so you go in and you just lightly replace that and strategically put in and you sprinkle it, and then you can look refreshed, and it doesn't have to look like fake or, overdone. And then your body will start to build collagen around that. So it just keeps giving,
Right. And how many treatments would you say? I know that's a lifelong commitment, but would you say 2 or 3 times a year or? So
my own experience, I had fillers for the first time when I was 40, so 6 years ago. I had a touch-up with 1 syringe 2 years later, and then I just had a touch-up with a syringe this past summer. So for me, I'm on a maintenance plan of maybe like once every 2 years where I'll get like, where we just kind of went and we did a little mid-base, and then I experimented with a little chin, and just very light, whatever, because under your eyes, that's the part that really can tell the secret of how we lose that volume there.
Right.
So we can start looking tired. And so when you replace the mid-face there, it kind of like smooths that out and you just look more refreshed. And for those that like weight, they say black don't crack, fat don't crack. And what that means is when you have volume, it makes you look youthful.
Right.
You have that volume there. But if you are thin or gone or you're losing weight everywhere, you lose it in your face too.
Right.
So that happened to me at 40. I'm like, I'm getting a 6-pack. And I got my 6-pack, and then my face was just like, it just felt like it just,
depleted.
Where I felt like you looked at me and I just looked tired. And I'm like, what can I do about this? And that's where I was the plastic surgery nurse, and then I was like, yeah, black don't crack, but I started getting curious. I'm like, so what can y'all do? And the inch over there and say, okay, do something.
Right, exactly. That's wonderful. It is. I love it. I love it.
Altruist Home Care Solutions is one of the top accredited home health care agencies servicing North and East Texas. With over 25 years of caring for Texas families, Altruist network of staff has become the preferred provider of physical and occupational therapy, wound, post-surgery, and primary care within the comfort of your home. Altruist Home Health Care works in conjunction with you, your loved ones, and your primary care physician to provide stellar care with honor and integrity. For more information on our services, visit our website www.altruisthhc.com or call us at 214-328-8600. Now back to the show.
What would you recommend to the everyday mom who's working and just trying to make ends meet and do different things? If she wanted to invest in herself for longevity, what would you recommend that she invest in?
So I always tell people, of course, I love medical grade skincare. Start with Sephora, okay?
Okay.
You know,
you can spend a lot of money.
I know you can. And I'm like, there's some lines. There's where you can go and at least start with that wash. Get into the routine at least, and start doing those things. Find that sunscreen. They got the Super Goop. That it's sunscreen is very sheer. I think it's like $34 and stuff. And so what I will say is this, because even when we talk about like, because I've been a single mom too and trying to stretch that dollar. Boy, we will spend money on bundles like it ain't nobody's business.
Right.
Unit be $1,000,
Right.
So sometimes we make time, or we go get our faces beat to the gods. You know, even me, I'm not that great with makeup. I wanted to get makeup for here today so bad, but nobody would see me this morning. But we'll go and we'll get all of that. We'll get a professional and look, fly for that, and it's $150.
Right, it is.
You do that a couple of times. That's your skincare.
Right.
So sometimes people can do it. They just gotta like whatever. If you really do that, you don't even have to do that much getting your face that beat.
Right.
Because you really can start.
And the beat, for clarity, the beat should just be an accent. What's underneath needs to be flawless, so that when the beat does come on, it's flawless as well. Yeah, and it's not that you have to have that just to kind of cover up all the, like people bad skin.
And I've had situations where I've had influencers that I've taken care of and I've seen, and I saw them for the first time and I'm like, oh my goodness. I can't believe it.
So she was like, Kim Kardashian don't really look like that. Trust me, I know. I've seen the people, these celebrities, what we see and what they really look like are two different things.
Exactly, where you're just like, man, honey, like what's going on here?
Right.
We got some problems here. We got to like work on this and get this together. But you see them and they look fabulous.
Right.
So that's what I would say. And this is the year for all of us women and moms to start putting ourselves on the list.
Absolutely.
That's a topic for a whole nother show. But that was me. I'm a serial entrepreneur.
Right.
I've got 3 kids. I've got an adult daughter and I've got younger kids. I've got a husband that I want to be, happy. I'm a Christian woman, so I'm trying to take care of those, like whatever. And what I found was I was at the bottom of the list. Compromising sleep, we're figuring out, when did I last go get my well woman, check up, these things, because you're just doing so much and you're taking care of people. So this year I'm just like, I'm going to be on the list. I went and got a mammogram. I got a colonoscopy. Oh my goodness, that was not. I'm like, oh man.
The hype is real.
It was a blast.
Right.
But, all these things that, you really should just go do on a regular basis. Even us, dermatologists. Every year, you need to go to a dermatologist and go and have them do a head-to-toe check, because we are getting skin cancer. And so you probably never realized how many moles you have.
I have one on my back that's been there for years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I need to go get, every year I say, I need to go get it checked out. I need to go get it checked out.
They take that microscope and they go from whatever, they document all that, and you go, and if there's anything new, they can stay on top of it. Or I never realized how much sun damage I had on my legs.
Oh, wow.
Just all these years of, not being out, whatever, so you start getting the light spots, so like whatever. So yes, at least every year we should be making that a visit where we go and have them kind of check us out from head to toe.
Okay.
Yep.
Put that on the checklist too.
Yeah, on the checklist. So yeah, so all these moms, it's tough, but these kids, they'll be all right.
Right, exactly. Exactly. They always are. Well, that is wonderful. As we begin to wrap up, is there anything you want to tell us that you haven't told us?
Let's see.
We did that one.
I think what you hit on last, I think everybody should, even if it's not going to be a med spa or some kind of spa, twice a year, set aside some time for you to just sit there quiet and let somebody put their hands on you and take care of you. And so if that's going to be a massage or your face or, just really set aside that time to do that, because it's only one you. And you really, when we think about the stuff that we do make time for and we think we don't have the money for it, we kind of do. I mean,
right.
We spend, we're buying our kids really expensive gym shoes and all the, we're doing that.
Right,
and
the bells and whistles.
The bells and whistles and some of that stuff, if you really think about putting that into your yourself. And then just knowing that, like, it's a new day. I want everybody to pay attention to all the marketing. When you look at these lasers, look at the Botox commercials, you're going to see our faces.
Okay.
Because what they're recognizing now is that our dollar is powerful.
Oh, absolutely.
And we're getting education and we're realizing we can do this stuff.
Right.
So it's, this isn't just for the celebrities and Nia Long and all of them. We can look, beautiful. The girl next door can look just like them.
That's important to know.
Yep.
Now, for our business people who are interested in starting a med spa, what piece of advice can you give them?
My piece of advice that I will give for anybody starting a med spa, or as you know, any kind of business, entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart. If you are running to do this because you think I'm going to do this so I can set my own hours and do this, that, and other, then rethink it, because you will not have your own hours. You will be poor for probably at least a year or two.
Right. Bossing up costs.
Yeah,
it's not cheap.
And so just really kind of step back and really think about what your why is going to be, understanding and doing your research, figuring out what your benchmarks are, really figuring out how much do med spas make. I didn't go into this. This was not going to be my thing that I went into so that I can, I'm retiring early. No. Lasers, I have equipment in my place that's cost of a house. It's very expensive. And when you just kind of look at what you make by way of injectables and all that kind of stuff, it's a passion of mine. I love it.
Right.
But it's just definitely not probably, unless you start looking at how you want to scale. And I do have ideas for that, but people that may want to go into a med spa and start that business, just really think about it. I actually love helping other people out with business stuff. I'm like a Goldman Sachs alumni.
Oh,
the
wonderful.
10,000 Small Business. And so, I've learned so much from that.
Right.
And I love to just kind of help other people and pass it on, because, some things need to be a hobby, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
and not a business,
Right.
And so, maybe having people start with just kind of knowing what to think about and to look at before you make that big step.
Right, because I would imagine that the back bar on a med spa line is expensive, which is reflected in the retail cost, but then you have to have a certified physician backing you, and that costs too.
Yes.
So everything has
even
a cost.
Buy-in.
Right.
This is not like, and there are businesses that now have made that a business, where they have set up a way where they can take small med spa owners that want to get started and say, come under my umbrella. And so instead of you having to spend, the
$3,000 on the CO, minimum,
right? You could just buy a box of cream, or a box of filler, as opposed to we're going to start doing Sculptra, which is amazing for it's the new anti-aging by Galderma, where it helps you to build your own collagen, and the training and buy-in is $10,000.
Oh wow!
And so you got to pay to play,
right? And
we're going to do that, but for a person that's just coming up, especially when you're leaving the bedside and you've been used to that straightforward hospital money,
right? Right.
You
guaranteed.
I know. Sometimes I'll be like, is they hired?
Right. Can I go back? You think they'll let me come back?
So that would be that they can call me, and I take, I will set aside a couple times a week where I'll take 15-minute calls just to spend time with people about, their logos or their ideas to bounce off of me. Right.
Yeah. Well, tell people where they can find you.
So you can find me at www.FitzyShadesMedspa.com. I'm on Instagram, and that's our handle also. We're Fitzy Shades Medspa and Laser. yeah, that's how you find me. My phone numbers will be there. Usually we're very responsive if you direct message us or text the line. And you could even say, you know, hey, I need to, can Diane call me back?
Oh, wow.
And that'll get to me. I'm not that big where, you know, and honestly,
Wonderful.
I don't aspire to ever be that big.
Okay.
You know, like in that big, I don't, because one of the things, and you probably really, I love that you're doing this, and I bet you love this, right?
I love it.
But you're a
It's
successful
not paying
businesswoman, and
anything.
you're doing, you see yourself, you enjoy it. But you have all that other stuff, and what can easily happen is that once you hit the business side, what you were passionate about, you find yourself no longer doing that.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So initially I was passionate about helping women recover from plastic surgery, right?
Right.
And so I got a home health care agency. And so then after, you know, you get 8 employees later and some contractors, now I'm a babysitter. It's just being, you know, not, you know, being, you know,
Right.
And then that just, the passion just sucked out of you because what you love now is something different.
Right.
Well, that's where you go and hire the people that love babysitting. But, you know, until you get to that point.
Right.
You know how that is. So, like,
Yes.
I'll tell people
Yes,
any with that.
Right.
Okay.
So we're gifting you with the Sugar Mama box, a sugar box, and open
Thank
it up.
you.
Open
Okay.
it up. Let's see what's in there.
Yes. Ooh, I love the box.
Thank you. So,
Look at this. Thank you. And you know what's funny? I wanted to bring you some skincare, but and I was going to bring you some ZO. Because ZO is so active,
yes.
it's one of those kind of things. I needed to see you first.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? Oh, this is cool. Cute.
So, a little Sugar Mama glass.
Oh, and your book.
And a book. So enjoy. When you want high intensity fictional drama, read the book.
I love all this stuff that you're doing.
Well, thank you for
thank
coming
you
on
for
Big
having
Texas
me.
Bossin today. Thank you.
Yes, this has been great.
It has.
Yes.
It really has. Thanks for tuning in to Big Texas Bossin podcast. If you like these conversations, be sure to subscribe on YouTube and follow us on all social media platforms at Big Texas Bossin. Tag us on social at #BTB.